What's up, YouTube? It's Horacio. Today I'm going to talk about 3 things that changed my life forever. But before we get into this video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And if you've been a subscriber, I appreciate every single one of you guys. To start off, I'm going to tell you all 3 things that changed my life forever. So the 3 things that changed my life forever are mirror gazing, meditating, and journaling. And I'm doing it in this order because this was the order that I did this and I learned from my progress. So, what is mirror gazing? Mirror gazing is where you look at yourself in the mirror and basically you see yourself, because that's what a mirror is, and you stare into the mirror and you look at yourself. And I want to talk about like how for me this was like very impactful, just because don't look at yourself in the mirror, because it's just like you're like idolizing yourself, or you think you're better than everyone else, which is not true. It could come out that way, but the way you perceive it is not the way someone perceives it is not the way you could perceive it. And like for this, mirror gazing is to benefit you, not to make you feel superior than everybody else, but rather for you to love yourself and show yourself like gratitude, thankfulness, all that stuff. And I feel like a lot of people, they can't even look at themselves in the mirror without like being scared. And I, for one, felt that way because when I first started looking in the mirror, like my eyes would get watery, and like you may see it as like, oh, it's because you're just staring at yourself, but like you start to see like all your insecurities and your faults, and like basically everything you perceive as bad, or your self-doubt in yourself. And like I, for one, felt that when I first did this, but I realized that if I wanted to be a better person, I could work on this. So I just looked at myself in the mirror, and like basically it's kind of like you're talking to yourself. And a lot of people may find this like weird or crazy, but I feel like when you talk to yourself, you get to know more about yourself, because when you look in the mirror, you see who you are. You see how other people see you as well. You have to realize that you are your own best friend, because at the end of the day, like here comes the cheesy quote, but no one's got you like you do, because at the end of the day, you are your best friend. You're the only one there for yourself. So no matter how many people say they're there for you, they may be there, but they may not. You never know what's going to happen. So you have to realize that you have to love yourself, and you have to love yourself unconditionally and be full of love, because when you are full of love and you love yourself, you can give it to others, and other people can see that impact. And so when I first started mirror gazing, I wasn't able to do any of that. I would like, honestly, I would cry. And I mean, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not lying or anything. I'm just saying that I would cry just because I would see all my insecurities in myself, and I wasn't happy with that. So I wanted to make that better. So I had to tell myself like what I wanted to do, and basically show, like acknowledge. Basically it has to do a lot with shadow work, and shadow work is basically acknowledging or accepting your faults and insecurities. And so when I started to do that and accept my faults and insecurities through mirror gazing, it kind of helped me and saw myself as a more loving and caring person. And once I did that, mirror gazing just what got easier, and it was like I could look at myself without feeling scared, or I didn't have to cry, or I wasn't like, oh, why am I looking at myself, I'm stupid, or something like that. Like all these negative thoughts, they just went away because I worked on myself. And I feel like a lot of people don't do this because you need to work on yourself. So mirror gazing was one of the big important things that changed my life. The second one is meditation, and I made a video about me meditating for 15 days, and I just wanted to say that meditation really has helped a lot, because it gives me um, to get away from my subconscious, where your subconscious is basically learning behaviors that you developed your ego. And a lot of people get stuck in their ego because you want to be better than someone else. You comparing yourself to somebody else, all those things, which are all your subconscious, which are learned behaviors. And I basically had to unlearn these behaviors and go within my inner self and my conscious. And I did this through meditation, and that's really why I was able to see all of these things, and I saw them from different perspectives and have compassion for other people. So now I'm very loving, I'm giving, whereas before I would always be like, why is someone doing this for me? What does this have to benefit for me? Like I was being a needy person, wanting something where it only will only benefit me, but it will not benefit one another. So I've realized that, and through meditation I was just able to find everything within myself and realize that you can do everything you want. Everything is within you. You are your own self, and being in your power. Like I'm in my power because I have realized that I can do everything because everything is within myself. And a lot of people don't think about that. And this may not make sense to you, but if you take in the work and you put in the work for yourself and say you're not doing it for anybody else, you are trying to improve yourself. And I'm not saying like, oh, I want to build something or rather, but more as like mentally and an emotionally physical way. It's more as you are in your power when you work on improving yourself and trying to improve yourself daily, and you're not letting your ego or your subconscious get in the way of how you portray things. Whether your ego may want to get in the way at times, you come to a realization that that's not who you are. That's just who you thought you were or who you wanted to be. But now when you realize that if you let that go, then you can be anybody you want to be, as long as you let go of your subconscious, let go of the ego, because the ego is just being prideful, having all this upper outer protection. It's kind of like you're not being your authentic self because you're trying to compare yourself to someone else, or you're always doubting yourself, or you feel insecure. All of these things that come within, they're all from the subconscious. But when you learn to let that go and realize that everything that someone has said to you was their ego, and how they everything someone has said to you was their ego and not them being themselves. Basically they put that on you, so they made you feel that way. But why did they make that feel that way? Because they felt that way. So but you won't understand that until you have compassion for other people, and you can do that with meditating. And that was one of the big things for meditation on my part. And journaling was very important for improving my life forever. I would say journaling was a way, like there's different types of journaling and you can do whatever you want, and I basically did that. A lot of it can be about just writing about how your day was, and I feel like that's a good thing. Like that's how I started. Like at first I wrote out how my day was, how I felt, what was I doing, and then I kind of like observed what I wrote and saw that maybe what could I have done better, or possibly could I have made this better if I was maybe a little happier, or if I didn't get so angry at something. What is there, basically looking for the positives in the negative. So when I first started journaling, it was a lot with just saying how I feel, and a lot of it was a lot of negative emotion, and I was like, why do I feel like this? So I started to question myself and realize that all of this stuff is just like in my head, and like the way I thought is just based off how other people perceive me, but it's because the way I perceive myself is what I give off. So I've realized that through journaling. That's just one type of journaling, and then another type of journaling that helped me was writing about like having a gratitude list. Basically, being thankful for everything in my life, even though it may be a little bit, you're still blessed. Like you have to realize that there's a lot of people who do not have what you have. Like people don't even have this pen, and I have this pen, and I'm just thankful for that. Like I'm thankful just to be able to have a phone to record, to showing you, to be sharing this knowledge of with you guys, because why would I want to keep this to myself when it can help other people, and that's all I want to do. So just being thankful just shows you like a lot of gratitude, and just it kind of gives you like a perspective like how blessed you really are, even though you don't see it, and you won't see it until you write it down. And that was kind of for me. I kind of just wrote down things I was thankful for, and at first I was realized like I had a lot of thinking of like what was I thankful for, because I didn't really see that until I wrote it down. And then when I wrote it down, I was just blessed. And then like I realized I have all these things, and then from a year now I might not have any of them, or I might have even more, and I would just be, it all started because I was just thankful for the little things now than the big things later, or the small things or no things later. I'm still thankful, I'm still blessed. The the last part of my journaling that really has helped me is kind of like, it was more about finding myself and loving myself. So I wrote down things of like, what do I like, what do I like to do, because that's a big question. Like you don't know what you like to do until you try things out. And like for me, I had a really hard time writing down stuff I like to do. Like I was thinking in my head and like, dang it, I really don't like a lot of stuff. But that's because I never thought about it. And like, I want to like new stuff. I want to try new stuff. And so that was like one of the things I like to do. I want to try new things because I don't have a lot of variety and stuff. And I know I'm not considered like being boring or not trying everything, because I've tried a lot of stuff, but like the stuff I've done isn't stuff I like to do. And the last type of journaling that I did is like self-love journaling. So what do I love about myself? And when I first did this, I really didn't love anything about myself, just because that's who I was. And until I started to realize that there was more things that I love about myself that I didn't see, until I realized that, then I didn't start to love myself. And I kind of just like to continue like all like throughout the meditation and mirror gazing, it kind of helped me find out the things that I do love about myself. Like I love everything about myself, and being more loving and being more caring, and like basically all the things that people don't know about me but I know about myself have helped with that. And like a lot of it has to do with the insecurities and flaws, because I know everybody has one, but a lot of people aren't willing to accept or talk about it. And I, for one, like for me, the biggest insecurity I've always had was being very, I would say, like for relationships, being very codependent or confrontation, just because I've been known as a people pleaser, and I just want to help people, but in a way that was a negative aspect for me. But until I've come to accept that, until I've come to accept and like forgive myself for thinking in that way, just because like I know that's not who I am, that was just who I was. And like I've realized that I can always work on myself and make it better. And now I can see myself, and I'm being very more outspoken and not very codependent, because as in for relationships, a relationship can't bring you happiness, but you yourself can bring you happiness. And until you realize that, then you'll never be happy in a relationship. And that's a lot. I know that's gonna hit hard for a lot of people, because that for me like hit super hard, because I always wanted to make my partner happy, or I always wanted to do what I thought was best for them, but I never thought about myself, never thought about what was best for me. Was this relationship even best for me? Like, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was, but I always thought about them. And so my own flaws, my own insecurities self-sabotages a relationship, and I've let that go. And so I'm healing, I've healed. So that has helped me better my relationships, not just in like romantic relationships, but as well with friendships, my family, everyone. Like, I see all of this in a different perspective because I've grown from it and realized that the best love is self-love. And until you realize that, realize you won't realize how much you have within your reach. And like I said, all three of these things have really benefited me and has helped me with my life, because excuse me, my voice is a little breaky or whatever, but like all three of these things have really helped and changed my life for better, because now I'm seeing all the positive things in my life. I'm very grateful, just blessed. Like, I'm just so blessed to be here. Like, it's just like, you don't understand. Like, I could have been like a freaking animal, not even an animal. I could have been a pen, dude. Like, we all could have been like a pen, but we're humans and we're able to speak on and talk about this stuff. And so I'm just like blessed that I'm able to learn so much about myself and realize that I'm still young and I have so much going for me, and people see that in you. But a lot of the times, like, if you don't see it in yourself, then you're going to make them see that way too. And that's because of the way you grew up, or the way you, like, all the learned behaviors, your ego, all of that stuff. But once you've learned to like accept and love yourself, then it changes everything forever. And these three things changed my life forever: mirror gazing, meditation, and journaling. All of these things, I do these things every day, and I don't regret anything. I'm just so blessed. But yeah, that sums it up for the three things that changed my life. So if you're new to the channel, just make sure, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And if you've been a subscriber, I appreciate you guys so much. Like, I can't tell you guys enough. I'm just so thankful for you guys. Just know we're on the way to the top 100K. Just watch. And I'm just like, I'm blessed, dude. I'm blessed. I'm thankful to be here. And I know you guys are blessed too. And we out.
Open up a loaf of bread and spread it out. I remember I almost ain't make it out.